Hello and welcome into Main Street Preps this week. I'm Russell Venozzi, joined as always by Tyler Palmatier, and we've got a great show coming your way today. We're going to talk to recent Goodpasture graduate and Detroit Tigers draft pick Carson Rucker about the excitement that he experienced on Monday, hearing his name called in the MLB draft. And later on, we will talk to Vanderbilt long snapper Wesley Schelling ahead of his senior season there with the Commodores. So, like I said, we're excited to talk to both those guys in just a minute. But before we get going, I want to remind everybody this podcast is sponsored by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Fans don't let fans drive drunk. Let's go ahead and bring in Carson Rucker now, who's going to join us by video if you're watching on screen. Carson, thanks for being here.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
So, Carson, there had to be some nervous anticipation there on Monday. Well, really dating back to Sunday when the draft started. But on Monday it happened. You went in the fourth round, pick 107 to the Detroit Tigers. I guess, what was that day like for you and your family as you were sort of waiting out the draft and then the celebration afterwards once you were picked?
I mean, it was pretty stressful. Really, just after it happened, I just broke down in tears because all the hard work I've put in. So it's pretty crazy, unreal moment. I'll definitely not forget.
Carson, what is that process like? Did you get a call or a text beforehand? Did you know the pick was coming, or are you just sitting there watching the MLB draft tracker and then all of a sudden you're just like, "There's my name"?
Yeah, my advisor gave me a call and he was like, gave me a number and I was just said yes or no and ended up saying yes, and it was like 3 picks ahead. They accepted it, so I knew then, and I just broke down. Pretty unreal.
So this is something that's sort of been building for you over the last couple of seasons. Of course, you had a great senior year there at Goodpasture this season, and understand that pro scouts were regularly coming to see you, hit batting practice, to see you playing games and all that. I guess at what point did you think that, you might have a chance to get drafted so high that, you'd have this decision whether you want to go straight to the pros or to go to college?
Honestly, it didn't really hit until like halfway through the season. I was like, man, I could really do this, and this is what I really want to do. So just sticking out the end of the season, trying to perform well to get drafted. So, and it ended up happening. So I'm very blessed for that.
So, Carson, I guess the question after hearing kind of what you said, are you expecting to sign with Detroit? And if so, is it bittersweet to kind of be skipping college to play baseball at Tennessee?
Yeah, I am gonna sign. That's the plan. Everything works out, but yeah, I just think it's the best thing for me at this point in my life. So I'm excited for the next step.
So in the last couple of days, how much have you gotten a chance to kind of research the Tigers organization, kind of get your bearings? If you had a chance to kind of familiarize yourself with the team at all?
Yeah, I really like the Tigers. Doing some research, like how they go about their business. So I think it's a really good organization I can fit into and move up in the minors.
There's some projections, Carson, that have you moving to third base at the next level. I don't know what all they've told you. Do you expect that move, and are you going to miss shortstop, or how do you feel about a potential position change there?
I mean, I don't really mind as long as I'm playing. So I'll play outfield, I'll play third base, shortstop, second base, anywhere. But I mean, I feel like I can play anywhere at a high level, so I don't mind.
So, Carson, you've really been under the microscope for a long time here, dating back to even when you played in the Little League World Series. Of course, you've got this older brother, Jake, who's now in pro baseball after a great career at Tennessee. You've competed at a really high level in high school, state championships, that kind of thing. You mentioned this year that kind of the whole MLB draft stuff weighing on you. So you've had all these great baseball opportunities at a young age. I mean, how do you think all of those moments have helped prepare you, to be a professional baseball player here at age 18, age 19?
Yeah, I mean, I really give a lot of my credit to my coaches and definitely my brother. He's helped me. I wouldn't know where I'd be without him. So I give all my credit to him. Called him right up right after. And I was like, man, I can't thank you enough. So it's pretty unreal.
So what does the rest of the summer look like? Carson, how does the next step go? When do you get to where you need to go as far as baseball? Next couple weeks, what are you going to be up to? I mean, how much do you have on your plate at this point to make the transition?
I don't really have a date yet about going to sign, but I'm planning on signing here in the next week. Going to Florida, in Lakeland, Florida, and signing. But looking forward to that and just getting prepared. Obviously, swinging the wood bat. So
Monday was obviously a really special day for you and your family, but also for the Good Pasture baseball team, because a couple hours after you were picked, of course, your former Good Pasture teammate Jaron Elkins got drafted by the Dodgers in the 8th round. Again, he had a great senior season. I think 16 home runs, 450 average, a bunch of stolen bases. How cool was that to see Jaron get picked a few hours after you? And what do you think makes him an intriguing pro prospect there with the Dodgers?
Playing with Jaron the last 3 years, I've seen how he's improved mentally and physically. Obviously, he's pretty cool to play with. Obviously, he wants to be better than me. I want to be better than him. So we're competing every day. So it's pretty unreal. I'm proud of him, all of his hard work he's put into the game, and it shows. So
I would guess somebody with your power, Carson, is not going to care that much about swapping a aluminum bat for a wooden bat. But what's that like? What do you think that'll be like to get used to that on a regular basis? And is there anything in particular about just holding a wood bat for your, as a professional player that just feels cool? I mean, it's just a different feel, Major League Baseball, watching those guys swing, a huge bat made of wood is sort of like the sign, that you're at the highest level.
No, I actually really like the wood bat. It's really true. So, when you really square up on it, I feel like it really travels more than a metal bat. But I like wood because, you see these pro guys on TV swinging it, and you want to be just like them. So my goal is to really improve on my swinging wood bat.
So I guess you're saying that it's almost a feel thing. You get a better sense if you square one up. You kind of know where it's landing on the bat. Maybe you get a little bit more feedback on your swing.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's more true. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And you saw a nice jump in your power, Carson, this spring. Obviously, your brother hit a good amount of homers there at Tennessee. He's hit some now in minor league baseball. Who do you think would win in a home run derby, Rucker versus Rucker there? Do you think you'd have the edge, or does Jake still got the advantage there?
I don't know. He's still got a little weight on me, but I think it'd be pretty close. But me and him's always been competing when we were younger, so I've just been always trying to be better than him. So really gives me that drive.
You mentioned you called him right afterwards too. Are you gonna be asking him for tips and stuff about life kind of on the road? I know minor league baseball is a grind, but you think he's gonna be able to help you through some of that?
Oh yeah, I've learned so much in the past day or so, knowing what's coming for me, which is pretty cool. It's an advantage against all the other kids. So I'm very blessed for that.
Well, Carson, we're looking forward to following both you and Jake there in the minors as you guys push closer to the MLB. So congratulations again. Thanks for joining us. And
thank you.
We'll talk soon. Thanks
for having me.
All right. That's been Carson Rucker, Detroit Tigers draft pick. As he said, he's going to be signing with the Tigers, foregoing his college eligibility there at Tennessee. So congratulations to him. We're going to take a quick break now, a couple commercials, and we'll come back with Vanderbilt long snapper Wesley Schelling. So stick around for that.
Hanging lights every year, we get it. That's why Southern Nights is here to help. We install programmable lighting on your home or business so you can enjoy beautiful, customizable lighting all year round. No more ladders, tangled lights, or cold nights outside. We do the work, you do the celebrating. Call Southern Nights today and take the hassle out of holiday lighting forever. For a free quote, give us a call at 931-241-3074 or visit our Facebook page at Southern Nights.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, You live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
You really good try.
There aren't any cops around.
I didn't think there were any cops around.
I drink and drive all the time.
Sir, you've been in a serious crash. I need you to hang on, okay? Tell me your name, sir. Where you are right now?
We are moving right along here on Main Street Preps this week. Excited to be joined now by Vanderbilt long snapper Wesley Schelling, who's getting ready for his senior season there with the Commodores. Wesley, thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
So, Wesley, football season coming up real soon. You guys open up against Hawaii. This time it's at home. I know last year you guys got to have that little mini vacation out there to Hawaii, but August 26th, a home game with Hawaii there. What does your preparation look like right now with about 6 weeks to go until that season opener?
Yeah, we're on discretionary week this week, so kind of just doing stuff on our own. Some guys went home, but come back, get another week of lifts in, and then I believe fall camp is July 25th. So kind of just getting my body ready to go for a long, grueling fall camp.
What's the vibe at Vanderbilt right now, Wesley? Some big wins last season, new coaching staff. Do you sense some good momentum there?
Yeah, absolutely. Objectives the postseason this year, so that's what everybody has their mindset on, and it's been working. And I really like how this team is molded, and obviously, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. We got a lot of guys coming back in terms of production, so looking good this year.
Long snapper, obviously unique in a lot of ways, Wesley, and I'm sure you can detail all of those ways probably better than Tyler or I could. But for my limited understanding, I know that's a highly technical position. It's obviously very important to each team. Most teams only carry, one or two, maybe in college there's a few more, but pro teams generally only have one. I guess what made you want to try long snapper, and how did you sort of, become just a full-time snapper and that opening up all these doors for you now in college football?
Yeah. Back in middle school, I kind of just did it because I was the center. I think we only punted twice in 2 years. Go for it in middle school. But in high school, I kind of, wanted to get on the field over at Pearl Cone, knew that, I wasn't going to be good enough to play O-line as a freshman there. And, knew my ticket to get on the field was going to be long snapping. And, I played freshman, JV, and varsity that year. So I played, I believe, close to 40 football games that season when it came between all three of those. But yeah, I kind of just saw it, and the guy they had wasn't doing very well, and I was just like, "Hey, coach, I can do this. Let me, try it out." And got through the first season, and then started going to camps and seeing that kind of the way I thought, very detail oriented, kind of that works very well with long snappers is, you got to be very detailed day in, day out to, not drive yourself insane. So
you were Vanderbilt's first team all SEC selection since 2016 last year when you got that honor. How much work is required to get to that level as a long snapper? Specifically, you meant trying to not drive yourself insane. How do you not drive yourself insane?
That's a good question. I'm still trying to figure it out, but just every day going in there knowing that you got to get better. Cause there's some days you walk in and it's money, it's on the hip every single time. And there's other days you walk in and it's like, man, I'm kind of missing side to side or up and down. Just a lot of hard work at the end of the day. Hard work pays off, and, staying level headed, not getting too high or too low. And, just staying consistent is the, name of the game. I think even from high school to college, long snappers I've seen, and even dudes that are older than me, the guys that stick around are the ones that are the most consistent. And so just trying to stay as consistent as possible, and knowing at the end of the day, it's just a game. It's not pressure in a football game. There's pressure when you're trying to land a plane with people on it, or you're a doctor, performing a surgery with somebody's life on the line. But when you're just snapping a football in a game, it really puts it into perspective that that's not really pressure at the end of the day.
You scored a touchdown on a fumble recovery last year against Florida. I'm sure you knew this question was coming, but those points were crucial to that win. It wasn't just some garbage time touchdown. I mean, you guys needed those points. Take us through how that play happened and how in the world you ended up with the ball there at the bottom of that pile.
Yeah, so I think it was late second quarter. We punted it away, kind of trying to pin them deep, honestly. And Matt Hayball, our punter, put up a good punt, and I was running down the field, and they didn't want to put anybody on me, which was kind of different. Certain teams, depending on the week, put somebody on me and try to block me and prevent me from getting downfield, and they just left me unaccounted for. And I ran down there, and obviously, their returner muffed it into the end zone, and our gunner had a shot at it, and he tried to pick it up. It got smacked out of his hands, and it was sitting, just laying in between his legs by the time I got down there, and I saw that it was still a loose ball, just laying there in between his legs, dove right in there. And it's pretty funny. I have like one hand on the ball and my other hand on the ball, and my gunner's leg is just in between me and my hands and the ball. And, it's pretty funny because I'm just sitting there holding on for dear life, making sure I don't lose that football, and just held on to it. And man, the bottom of those piles can get pretty intense pretty quickly. So you kind of just got to hold on for dear life. And then afterwards got up and, handed the ref the ball, started celebrating with my teammates. And then I said, well, I guess I got to go snap the extra point now. So.
Yeah, snaps are just totally underrated and overlooked by everybody in football. I mean, specifically, you were able to snap 2 game-winning field goals last season, Colorado State and UConn. That's just something that people, or I should say 2021, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's just something people don't think about enough. But in that situation, I think at the time when that kick's about to go up, everybody kind of is all of a sudden looking at you. It's the first thing that happens before the kick. And I don't know, for me personally, I'm watching a big kick. The first thing I'm thinking is, snap's got to go off. You can't have anything going wrong here. If you've got a backup snapper, and it's especially a focus. What is that like for you when you're down there and you're making the first move? The situation, the nerves. Do you get a sense that everybody is in that moment looking directly at you?
Yeah, I mean, in the moment, you're not really thinking about it. I definitely kind of, before ever snapping any game winners in a game, you always think about that. Like you ask guys, like I've asked guys before, I was even put in those situations, how that feels. And, you kind of just try to replicate it in practice as many times as you can. I'll give Coach Lee a lot of credit. He does integrate that into practice, hey, specialists, get ready. It's about to be a game-winning field goal, or just situations that are rare. I mean, a game-winning field goal doesn't happen every day. It feels like it does sometimes, but, they're rare occasions, but they're big ones when they do happen. And, honestly, just practicing it and knowing that. And then at the end of the day, I know what, my strengths and weaknesses are. And, I know that I can go out there and, hey, when, it's a pressure situation, your body's going to tighten up, typically, and you need to focus on a longer follow through. So both of those game winners, I was just down there and I was like, hey, it feels like another field goal. You just know that if this one goes in, you win the game. And, just making sure I get down there, go through my same routine, and then follow through. And, hope the holder catches it with laces out, hopefully, and then the kicker puts it up and in. And so to me, that was the way I think about it. And I visualize a lot, visualize game winners. As funny as it may sound, I did visualize scoring a touchdown, but that was years of visualization. And then, finally it happened. And then same with the game winners. I did not expect those situations to happen like on that day. but I was ready for it when it happened.
So outside of those kind of scenarios, like you said, with the game-winning field goal or falling on a touchdown in the end zone, long snappers are usually a pretty anonymous member of the team. Like, especially if everything's going well, you're a sort of anonymous member there. But when something goes wrong, all of a sudden it can kind of be the focus, like it was in that Bengals Steelers game early last season. I'm sure you saw when the Bengals long snapper was hurt, the Bengals kicking game eroded, and they ended up suffering this devastating overtime loss. I guess when you see something like that, are you pointing to it and saying, "Hey, look, like here's how valuable long snappers really are. I'm glad everybody can see that," or are you looking away just because man, like that's kind of a nightmare situation for any team to not have a long snapper, to not be able to function in the kicking game?
Yeah, a little bit of both, honestly. I think depending on who's out there and snapping the ball, I have seen guys that I know, have rough reps, and it happens to everybody. Luckily I've been in situations where my punter and my holder saves me, but you feel bad for the guys that are the true long snappers, because how much work goes into it. And I think the regular person just thinks I kind of just show up on Saturday and do my job and then go home, sleep. But day in, day out, we're football players too. We got to go out there and play the game. And so, those are the sickening ones to watch. But yeah, like you're talking about the Bengals one, it was a tight end who came in and was the backup. And in the NFL, they only got one guy, active on the day. And so, I think goes to show that long snapping is pretty hard. And, a pretty athletic tight end that's in the NFL, can't do it as well as the guy that's been there 14 years, so I think it goes to show how hard long snapping is.
Yeah, I want to go back to a couple questions about your high school background, Wesley. Obviously an MLK graduate, but with that co-op between MLK and Pearl. Pearl is where you played your high school football. Tony Brunetti is one of the most colorful, fun to talk to people for me personally in the high school, in the Nashville area. What was it like playing for Tony and being part of that program?
It was great, man. I mean, those are some of the best memories I have. Winning all those games. I think my senior class was 46-9. Winning a lot of games. Went to state my senior year. Going deep in the playoffs every season. That in itself is fun, just winning all those games. But playing for Coach Brunetti it's an honor. He's, in my opinion, the best high school football coach ever. He gets his guys into college at the end of the day. And, if you're looking back, 20 years down the road, or even I'm, 4 years out of high school, I look back on it and, you see what's truly important. And, Coach Brunetti getting his guys into college and having faith in his guys. And, he makes everything sound simple, is the way I put it. I went back to watch a spring practice when I was on break, and he was just talking to me. He's like, it's all about competing. It's just about competing. And, at the end of the day, he makes everything that, seems complex very simple. And, he's a great coach, a great guy, gets his dudes into college. I'll do anything for that man.
Yeah, gets his dudes into college that's a really good point. Just how many guys at all levels that program ends up sending. But I guess I just want to make sure this is right. But Donovan Higgins told me that, of course, he's a guy that's seeing a good recruitment right now. He said that you went back and you taught him a little bit about the long snapping position, and he now, among his many jobs, is the pro long snapper. What was that like teaching Donovan?
It was fun. I mean, he appreciates the position and knows that it takes hard work. And, he's actually pretty easy to teach compared to, I've worked with other high school guys too. And, he was just kind of naturally gifted in a sense of long snapping. Just the mechanics he had already were pretty straightforward, and wasn't anything crazy I had to change. But yeah, went back and helped him out, and that was a great process. I love giving back to Pearl and that community any day of the week, anytime. But he's doing great. Obviously, I think he's a better wide receiver for sure, and a lot more athletic than I will ever be. But he's continuing the tradition there, and I'm just happy he's got that job locked up and doing really well. So
Yeah, not a bad skill to have in your back pocket in case something happens in a game and they need somebody capable out there. Maybe college can pull him out there and stick him at long snapper in an emergency. But Wesley, you've been credited with 1 assisted tackle in your 3 seasons. You don't have a solo one yet. I'm curious, is that your white whale? Are you hoping to get a tackle before it's all said and done, or are you happy to let other guys go down there and make the play?
Hey, kind of whatever comes to me. I will say, I guess when penalties happen, they take away tackles. But against Ole Miss last year, I did technically have a solo tackle on Mingo, but our punter got roughed on that play, so we got an automatic first down, and the tackle got taken away. But I definitely have the screenshot from ESPN on my phone. But yeah, I mean, that'd be great to have a solo tackle, but I just care about winning football games and getting the snaps back there. So
let's make sure that screenshot gets framed. I think that would be a cool thing to have someday in your home.
Oh yeah, it's framed. It's sitting up there right besides my All SEC trophy. So I'll take it.
Good. Well, last thing, Wesley, then we'll get you out of here. Your electrical engineering major.
Electrical and computer engineering. Yep.
Computer engineering. I wrote this down completely wrong on my question. At Vanderbilt, what's the career goal in that field after football?
A lot of different ways to go with it, which is was my intention going into engineering in general. Is engineers can get hired for virtually anything, but the end goal. I'm an electrical engineering intern at Nashville Electric Service, and so I'm an electrical engineer is one route I'm looking data scientist too, and then computer engineering. Basically, I want to mix my skills of coding with the hardware side of it, and wherever that leads me is where I'll end up. But yeah, I mean, multiple different avenues right now, and I'm still searching through them all. But currently, really like my job over at NES.
Yeah, that sounds like a great long-term career path. Curious, I guess, on the way out, Wesley, are you going to try to give the NFL a shot at all next year? Or I guess whenever your eligibility is up?
Yeah. Whenever the time comes, I'll make a run at it, and hopefully it turns out well. But we'll see. I'm focused more on the Vanderbilt Commodores right now, and making it to the postseason. So.
Good deal. Wesley, we enjoyed talking to you. Good luck in a couple of weeks when you get going with fall camp, and we're looking to see how it all shakes out for you guys.
All righty. Thanks for having me.
All right. That's been former Pearl Cone and current Vanderbilt long snapper Wesley Schelling. Really enjoyed that conversation. Also, Carson Rucker earlier in the show. If you missed that, be sure to rewind, check out his interview. He's expected to sign with the Tigers after being drafted on Monday. Tyler, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No final thoughts. Those were 2 really good guests. Great to hear some of that insight.
Yeah. So we've had a good string here of athletes on the show, and hopefully we're going to keep that up moving forward. So before we get out of here, I want to remind everybody this podcast is sponsored by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Fans don't let fans drive drunk. Be sure to stay tuned to MainStreetPreps.com all week. Going to be more high school football coverage coming as those practices and scrimmages get going. Of course, we've got all the updates on the MLB draft if you missed any of that from earlier this week. But otherwise, for Russell Venozzi and Tyler Palmatier, we'll see you next time on Main Street Preps this week.